Welcome back. Zimbabwe's High Court ruled that a decision by President Emmerson Mnangagwa to extend the tenure of the country's Chief Justice by 5 more years was illegal as it violated the Constitution. The High Court ruled that Luke Malaba ceased being Chief Justice at midnight on Friday. To get more on this story from Zimbabwe, we have via Zoom SABC News correspondent Ephert Musekiwa. A very good morning to you, Ephert. What do you know about this court ruling against Chief Justice Luke Malaba?
Well, good morning, Desiree. Yes, indeed, like you rightfully said, yesterday afternoon, the High Court made a pronouncement that Chief Justice Luke Malaba ceased to be a judge and the Chief Justice of the Zimbabwe by midnight when he turned 70, which is the legal or the automatic age of retirement for judges according to the Constitution. But what is interesting is that just this past week, President Mnangagwa had actually extended the tenure of the Chief Justice by another 5 years because during the week again, he had actually amended the Constitution. Parliament had ascended and amended the Constitution to allow for the extension of the Chief Justice. One of the arguments that was raised by the lawyers that challenged this extension of tenure was that incumbents should not benefit from any amendments to the Constitution. They are also highlighting that the amendment itself is actually in breach of the Constitution. So it's really an interesting series of events that are taking place here in Harare to see where, the different centers of power are trying to jostle. And it's actually an interesting period in Zimbabwe.
Just in terms of the presidential, are there any presidential prerogatives that President Mnangagwa is using in this case in an effort to extend the tenure of the Chief Justice?
Well, like I did indicate, during this past week, there has been debate around the amendment of the Constitution. The Constitution was amended. Amendment number 2 of the Constitution actually passed through Parliament about a week ago. And President Emmerson Mnangagwa signed it into law during the week. After doing that, he then made a pronouncement or an announcement to say that he had extended the tenure of the Chief Justice. So it is these steps that President Mnangagwa had actually tried to follow by first amending the Constitution itself before reappointing or extending the tenure of the Chief Justice. So the Constitution was amended, but it is also under review. There are challenges to the amendment of the Constitution itself. So that's the route that President Emmerson Mnangagwa had actually brought in or had actually used to extend the tenure of the Chief Justice.
Ephert, give us a sense of two things. One, the tenure of Chief Justice Luke Malaba, has it been a solid and a good one? But also on the political front, why is the president seeking to reinstate Mr. Malaba, who's clearly reached retirement age, instead of seeking to recruit a new Chief Justice?
Well, Chief Justice Malaba, remember, in the 2018 elections, he presided over the challenge that the opposition were challenging that President Emmerson Mnangagwa had actually won the elections, and he presided over that petition. And he has been seen to be, those in the opposition actually see him as aligned to the current government of President Emmerson Mnangagwa. So already there is that suspicion that he is aligned to President Emmerson Mnangagwa. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the term limit or the age limit that is set up in the Constitution was a result of a referendum. And judges, their retirement is automatic by virtue of them attaining that age. Now, a lot of questions as to why President Mnangagwa wants, the Chief Justice Luke Malaba continue, because people that let him retire. Also, people are challenging that the Constitution clearly says that incumbents should not benefit from any amendment or to the Constitution. The current office bearers should not, and this actually in breach, or the actions that were taken actually in breach of section of the Constitution that clearly indicates that an incumbent should not from any adjustment or any amendment to the Constitution. So already, because of things that are happening, people are very skeptical that Mnangagwa wants to extend his personal tenure beyond the 2/3 that he is, and the only way he can do it is also through the courts. So having a Chief Justice who is in support of him will actually help in his endeavors to try and get his own term extended once the time comes. So there is really a lot of fighting, a lot of debate. There are ways that were thrown around, even in the response to them. The response that was given by the Minister of Justice to the ruling by the court, he highlighted words like judicial capture and judicial bias. Already it tells you that there is a political fight between the judiciary and the politicians. He also used words that the judges need to understand the difference, or the justice, what did you call it? Judicial overreach, that they had no authority to overrule what the executive and the legislature would have pronounced. So really there is already tussle between the executive, there is tussle between the judiciary, there is a tussle between even parliament itself, which is the legislature. So the three arms of state right now are actually in conflict, or they're actually at war, trying to, amend the Constitution, or also trying to see who has the final authority over the other.
So, Ephert, what happens at the moment? What does this mean for the justice system in the country? Is there seemingly a vacuum in terms of authority at the top in the judiciary?
Well, there is no vacuum. The Judicial Service Commission, which is an independent commission, which oversees the justice system in Zimbabwe, did indicate or did highlight that the Deputy Chief Justice actually takes over in the current during this period in an acting capacity. She has not been announced as the substantive Chief Justice. They've just highlighted that she is the acting Chief Justice. So there is no vacuum. We do have an acting Chief Justice while this matter goes through the legal process. But we don't know how long it will take. But for now, the High Court has pronounced that Chief Justice Malaba is retired. If he's to come back, we wait to see through the outcome of the courts as well. So it's very interesting. It's going to be an interesting period in Zimbabwe, judiciary and political.
Yeah, totally agree with you. But also similar developments in South Africa with the term of the Chief Justice coming to an end and him taking leave at the end of that term. So similar conversations taking place. Ephert, thank you so much for your time. Ephert Musekiwa there talking to us about that development in the judiciary in Zimbabwe.